Well, there's a retro tournament this week, and I'm gonna be playing in it. And this retro tournament is like a 2017 Worlds format. And it's really cool because 2017 Worlds had a whole bunch of different type of Pokemon in it. There's Pokemon EX, like old school capital EX. There are Pokemon GX, there are Pokemon Breaks, there are Mega Pokemon, and not to mention there are plenty of single prize decks that hit hard with the top, like Greninja Break. And I guess there's Gyarados too, and even Vespiquen, yeah, Mega. And I'm not playing any top tier deck. There's like Mega Rays and Gardevoir GXs. I'm not playing any of those. I'm playing Mega Gardevoir, which is probably a deck no one's really expecting since it's kind of underpowered for the format, but I think it's a lot of fun, and if I get enough setup, I can actually KO Gardevoir GXs, which is one of the beefiest GXs out there, with 230 HP, and if I get 8 energy on my board, I can one-shot that thing, which is really good because it usually heals and tanks otherwise. My Mega Gardevoirs attack for 3 energy and do 30 times the number of fairy energy on my board, so I use a baby Xerneas with a Geomancy attack to power up my board. The Geomancy lets me choose 2 of my bench Pokemon and just attach a fairy energy from deck to it. And if I get a couple turns attacking with Xerneas, I can really swing with the giant Mega Gardevoir, and it's a lot of fun. I also play the Mega Gardevoir that is dual type. Dual types are a thing too, that's super cool. The dual type Fairy and Psychic Megavar is really awesome, and the fact that I can hit specific decks for weakness. Psychic type were pretty common and were hit for weakness by themselves. But the spare rate, the attack on it, is also pretty nice, since I usually use a Hoopa EX or Shaman EX to set up my board, and the spare rate does 110 damage, but I can remove Pokemon from my bench and it does 10 more damage for each Pokemon removed. I can attack with Xerneas. Lifestream is really good, it's 20 times the number of energy on my board. And with Xerneas Break, I sometimes get a 2 prize KO and force my opponent to take a single prize in response. And that's the deck I'm bringing to the 2017 retro format. Hello, I am here with Jackson, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Alright.
Okay, what is your favorite part of 2017 Worlds as a format?
2017 Worlds is one of my favorite formats because it's just got a lot of variety as far as playstyle. There's pretty much any form of any deck that you want to play. There's a version of that deck in this format. Supporters going first is one of my favorite things, and I'm sad that they took it away in current standard, so I love playing this format to have that back.
Yeah.
And just, there's a lot of variety. What
is the deck you're running, and why are you running it?
I think as of now I'm flip-flopping between Mega Ray or Espeon. I think I'm gonna go with Espeon because it's just an all-around great deck and it's just fun to play.
Hit things for weakness.
Hit things for weakness.
Shut off abilities, do Trash Lance, all the good stuff.
Exactly.
What was the deck you played back in the day if you played the format?
I didn't play the format.
You didn't play the format?
I started in 2022 and I went and took a look back and decided 2017 Worlds, great format. It's just super fun.
Well, I'd have to agree. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Oh, we had really good showing for the 2017 retro format for 2017 Worlds. We had 19 people show up, and that's really awesome, and over half of them probably hadn't even played 2017 before, so it was really awesome. And honestly, I feel like we're probably gonna have this event again. It went really well. You haven't played 2017 at all, have you?
No, I've only played Modern Standard for 6 months-ish.
Any reason why you chose 2017 to play in it in particular?
Because I show up every week and it seemed like fun.
That's fair
and
enough.
Playing cards is fun.
So you are borrowing our Greninja Break deck?
Yes, I am. I think it'll be fun. I know kind of how it works. I've played one game and I understand placing damage counters and some of those lines, so I figured it'd be a good choice.
Yep. Hopefully you don't brick and you don't get donked.
Well, with how I draw, I probably
have fun tonight. It's a really fun format. Mr. Judge Man, why is 2017 one of your favorite formats?
like the best standard format, like modern standard format that we have. I think it's like top 3 up there, with 2006 is probably number 1. That's like the EX era, Ruby and Sapphire. 2010 is really up there because it's like really long games and really intrinsic. Lots of back and forth interactions with like trap cards and stuff, which is really cool. But if you're looking at kind of what the kind of ideal modern standard format, 2017, because you got this cool hybrid between breaks, GXs, EXs, Megas. You got single prizes that work really good. You got big tanky things. You got things that like are glass cans. You got like Pikachu EX, which can hit like 300 damage. But then it's only got 103 HP, so it's getting knocked out almost every single time. So if you look at all these different lists, stuff like Gardevoir GX is the top, but you can find all sorts of weird stuff. I think there was a Gyarados list that in like 2017 regionals, which went up to like Guardians Rising, took first place. You have all sorts of weird stuff. Metagross Solgaleo, which is like a double stage 2 deck, that was viable.
Well, I know you're not playing a match today, but if you were playing in the tournament, what deck would you brought?
The deck to beat for sure is going to be Gardevoir GX. That thing is huge. It can do everything. It can tank, it can one-shot, it can resource manage. That thing is really strong. So that would definitely be on considering. Espeon GX is also really cool because you have access to Garbodor, which is probably the biggest threat in the format, with Trash Avalanche as well as Shadow abilities with Garbotoxin. But you also can hit for 4 weaknesses with the Evolutions, which can one-shot a lot of stuff. And then you also can just like say, no, we ball. We're going to play Mega Rayquaza and just one-shot everything for over 200 damage turn 1. So
dunk some players, hopefully.
If I wanted to win and try to be like best odds of winning, Gardevoir GX. If I wanted to just kind of have fun, Mega Rayquaza would be really, really fun. Just pray you don't hit a Parallel City.
Despite how well the tournament showing and people showing up was, I did not do hot. And I'll be honest, it's because Mega Gardevoir is probably not the best deck, especially the non-Despair variant. And I knew that going into this event. Especially if you think about it, Mega EX Pokemon is kind of old news, and GX are the new kids on the block, and they're kind of big and beefier and faster than Mega decks. My first game was against a Lurantis GX deck, and Lurantis GX has 2 attacks. The first attack is called Flower Supply, does 40 damage, and puts 2 energy from your discard pile onto Pokemon. And its second attack is really powerful too, allowing it to do 120 damage and heal 30 damage from itself. That's just really good. It ends up being somewhat tanky, and there's even a baby Lurantis that makes your fire and grass Pokemon do 20 more damage. So all of a sudden you're doing 140 damage attacks, and with Choice Band you could even do 170, which kills a lot of things in the format. And its GX attack is also very scary since it does 50 damage times the number of energy attached to your Lurantis GX, so it's base 150 most of the time, which could go even higher if needed. This is a matchup I felt like I could win. It's not a top tier deck, however, my prizes decided to be garbage. And yes, those are only 4 of my prizes, but those are the worst 4 because I only took 2 and they weren't very helpful. Both of my Shaman EXs were prized, as well as my Hoopa. And because of that, I basically didn't get to play the game, and bad luck happens. It's not the fault of the deck, it's not the fault of the player, I just couldn't get a board set up. They were able to set up their board beautifully without any disruption, and I lost the game because of that. A little salty, yes, but that's the game we play. I still had a wonderful time playing my opponent, Hannah, and I even got to do a little bit of an interview afterwards to see how she thinks about the format. Okay, so I just finished my match with, remind me your name?
I'm Hannah Larson.
Hannah, and it was fun in the sense that I had all my support Pokemon prized. But how did the game go for you?
I think it went pretty well. I practiced with this deck a few times, and I did have to have a few rules reminded to me. But I'm really happy I was able to pull off the best combos I could.
You like the 2017 format?
I think I really do. I was talking about it with my aunt earlier because she was curious, and I think it's really nice because it gives you more strategy options.
Yeah, there's a lot of different decks. Like, Lurantis GX isn't even one of the 20 decks we have built, but it's one that Kevin looked at building in the past. So, have fun with your tournament, and see you around, I guess.
Thank you so much.
My second game, I feel like, was also a game I could have won, but it was also a very slow, awkward, clunky start. I didn't even have a discard draw supporter in my hand to start with. I was able to top deck a Gardevoir GX and a Xerneas Geomancy, a single energy onto my board, but it was very slow. Golisopod itself is a lot faster of a deck, as it attacks for 1 energy, and if it switches from the bench to the active during that turn, it does 120 damage, and if it has 3 energy on it, grass and double colors, it can do 100 damage and reduce damage done to it the next turn by 20, and it has a really strong, powerful, annoying GX attack, which is base 150 for 3 energy, and you switch to the bench, which my opponent used to very good effect in my game. And while my opponent had a slow start as well, leading me to Sycamore away my Super Rod for the second game in a row, which bit me in the butt later, my opponent immediately top decked a Lele the next turn, and it was able to get a Bridget off and set up their whole board. And they just got set up way faster than me. I was able to get a Hoopa out this game, at least it was better, but it was still like a mid-game Hoopa, which didn't really help me propel the board. I started the game like 2 to 3 turns after my opponent, and because of that, I ended up losing. My opponent was able to put me in a checkmate scenario where he used his GX attack, switched to the bench, and then forcing me to find a Gust, which I did not find. And then the following turn, he Acer roll up the Golisopod, forcing me to go through its Gardevoir Trash Lance, which at that point was doing 200 damage, which my Gardevoir has 210 damage, but he had Tapu Koko'd at some point, and I needed to play items to heal my Gardevoir potentially, or try to go for Gust for game or for Disruption. And needless to say, if I played any more items at one point, he was one-shotting anything. So at the end of the game, he just had a checkmate scenario, but at 1 prize left, he had a Trash Lance Gardevoir that I couldn't even one-shot with my Xerneas Break, and a potential future Golisopod on the bench, which could swing in and do 120 and pick up any KO on any of my little guys left. It was just sad. And Mega Gardevoir does struggle with item management, which is really tough in a format with a lot of Trash Lunch everywhere, because you want to be burning through your max elixirs early, and while you can play a game managing and keeping your item count low, that just didn't happen because I was constantly trying to play catch up, and to play catch up you have to play a lot of items. Anyways, my opponent didn't want to do an interview afterwards, so instead I will just tell you guys to click the like and subscribe button if you really like this video and you want me to do more of it, and be sure to tell me down below what your favorite 2017 deck is, or your favorite first deck, no matter what format it is. My last game was my last chance to win, and needless to say, I got the win in the bag. I played against Zoroark Drampa. Zoroark is a really interesting little guy, as it is a break Pokemon with a single energy attack called Foul Play, and you can choose one of your opponent's attacking Pokemon's attacks and use it as that attack. However, Mega Gardevoir is probably one of the worst matchups for poor little Zoroark Drampa, because Zoroark can copy in my attack, but my attack is based on the number of fairy energy on my board, and since they play 0 fairy energy, that doesn't work out too well for them. They can attack and do 0 damage. They also have Mind Jack, which is a little more powerful, and while that can do decent damage, I also happen to have a 20 resistance to dark on all my fairy attackers. And Drampa itself is a really strong attacker, especially if you get the Team Magma Basin setup, getting the bench damage and stuff. However, I was just able to get a good setup regardless of my Shaman EX start. I was able to, I had a Shaman EX and active, and then I top decked a Shaman EX, which was really funny, but off of that top deck of a Shaman EX and an Ultra Ball in hand, I was able to go get Hoopa, get my board set up, Shaman, find a Xerneas, find a Max Elixir. I had a Fairy Garden in play as well, giving free retreat to any of my Pokemon that had Fairy Energy attached to it. On my manual attachment for turn went to the Shaman in the active, and I found a Max Elixir, which hit and I was able to accelerate an energy onto my Xerneas on the bench, free retreat into my Xerneas, and get a turn 1 Geomancy off. That is how the deck is supposed to work, and I'm so happy that it ended up working that way. And my poor opponent was stuck on a Turtonator GX clicking Shell Trap, which does 20 damage, and if I attack into Turtonator GX with damage, I get 8 damage counters put on me. However, I literally just sat there clicking the Geomancy button until there were 0 energies in my deck. Then I did a bit of a sneaky play. I free retreated into my Shaman with the Fairy energy on it, and used Sky Return to return the Shaman to my hand just so I could have another bench space to put down another Xerneas, because my board had 2 Shaman EXs and a Hoopa on it, and I didn't want my opponent to have 2 Shaman EXs to Gust kill, so I just removed that liability and had a fun little discussion about rulings with the attack. And this is how the ruling would go. Let's say my Shaman EX had like 30 damage on it. If I attacked into the Shell Trap Turtonator, my attack would resolve, returning the Shaman EX into my hand with the Sky Return attack before the Shell Trap would activate. However, I did the Sky Return, which my opponent wasn't sure why I did that, but the 30 damage on the Turtonator GX meant I could attack with a Xerneas Break, put the 8 damage counters on a Xerneas Break, and offer up a 1 prizer in return to KOing their 2 prizer at some point. And that did happen. And then the rest of the game was kind of just a mega sweep after that. And that is how the night went. I even got to have an interview with the winning deck of the night. So you're one of our 3-0 people tonight, right? And you played Espeon GX. Do you want to break down a little bit of how your deck and games went?
It honestly went pretty consistent throughout the whole day. I played against Tapu Bulu for my first match, and that one was a pretty quick steamroll. I'm not gonna lie.
Ability lock's pretty hard in that matchup.
Yeah. After that, I went into an interesting Volcanion build, Volcanion Skyfield, and there was a point where he just hit the point of no return with items in his discard pile and just clean field with Trashalanche Garbodor, which always feels good. That win was a little closer, but I ended up pulling through with it after he reached that point of no return. Then my last match was against Gardevoir GX, the World Championship list.
Yeah.
It's definitely the deck to beat. Was able to get Garbotoxin out really quickly in that match and kind of just held him at a standstill. I had ended him the turn prior, so he really didn't have much in his hand to go for, and ended up clutching out that win.
You 4-0'd him.
I 4-0'd him.
Yeah.
So
I will say, I have played into Kevin, who is probably one of the best 2017 players out there in the world because he plays it so much. But I have tried to ability lock his Gardevoir GX list. It just doesn't work. And I'm like, gosh darn it. But
Field Blower is the card to beat in that when you're trying to item lock.
Field Blower is a very good
lock.
Field Blower is really good for Trashalanche, though, you have to say.
Yeah.
Because when you play it, it's a beautiful thing.
It feels great.
Anyways, congrats on the 3-0, and hope to see you around. Maybe we'll do another 2017
I hope so
tournament.
too. This was fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. Anyways, that is it for this week's video. I will see you guys in the next video, which hopefully will be another fun little video. Be sure to tune in for that, and I'll see you guys all in next week's video. Bye!